But yeah, big open intellectual space where you can just hang out and hear something new from someone who maybe is from your discipline, maybe someone you've seen at another creative space, or maybe someone you would never be in the same room with otherwise. And we love that here. We love to see people from all kinds of backgrounds, from writing, design, making websites, making games, and just kind of get a sense what each other are up to, what we're working on, what we're thinking about, and a chance to inspire each other and share work and really learn and grow as people. So we have two wonderful featured presenters this evening. We're going to be joined by Jenny Goldstick and Ansari. Give it up for our featured presenters. And then we have a WordHack tradition, which is the open projector. I'm really excited. We have a stacked open projector for you. The open projector is kind of like an open mic, but for digital stuff. My background is in poetry. I moved to New York in 2010. Just a poem in my pocket and the will to get on stage and put my name on a piece of paper, and I didn't really know anyone and just really benefited from the kind of rooms that had a sheet of paper that you could put your name on and then use that to interact with people rather than having a conversation first. That was really valuable to me at the time, and a value that I love to extend to all of you, the ability to just come into a space. You don't have to know anyone or have anyone think you're cool to be able to share a little piece of work for 5 minutes or less. So it could be a project you just started, a project you just finished. It could be just like a little 5-minute performance that is just kind of weird and provoking. People do that sometimes. It could be a tiny little talk about something you're interested in. People do all sorts of things up here on the open projector. It can also be, and I love it when it is this thing, for people, just like a motivation to finish something so you can show it here. And just like, I don't know, I have a very audience-centric part of my creative practice for my own work of just like, nothing feels real until someone else has looked at it in real time. Posting stuff on the internet just doesn't quite feel the same as seeing people not laugh at your joke in person. And I really like to provide that opportunity here at the open projector. So even if you're not on the open projector this time, I hope you'll see something you like up here and think maybe I could get up there and show someone they like in the future. To get us started here on the open projector, fresh off an incredible tax day run, it's Jamie Brew. Give it up for Jamie.
Okay, I've got bad news. The tax day run is going to continue.
Oh no!
Yeah, I think I do need a dongle. No, I got it. I got it. It goes direct in. Well, we'll see if we need a dongle. That's the big question every time. Will we need a dongle?
Yeah, I just noticed the projector is turned off around the same time as the arcade machine. So
okay.
Oh, yeah,
Hey, okay, good. Cool. Hey, you can kind of see that. Let's make it a little thinner, or no, a little wider, and then a little thinner. Can you kind of see what's going on here? I just want to recap our tax day special, which we had yesterday for Robot Karaoke. I run a show called Robot Karaoke that is wrong words to songs you know, drawn from very specific data sets. And yesterday we tried an experiment in the frontiers of Robot Karaoke, trying crowdsourced data sets of a certain kind. This was our tax day themed show, and we put it on at Caveat. And our guests included several WordHack regulars, including multiple attendees tonight. Each person brought an idea or a talk, and then after their talk, we sang a song using phrases from something they talked about, set to the tune of some song that we all know. So that's kind of the Robot Karaoke premise in a nutshell, is you're singing words from a specific other place, recontextualized. And this was our tax day show. So this is the poster for it. I'm just gonna use this time to show some things that I didn't get to show at yesterday's tax day event. This is Form 1040 with new font that is actually drawn from a data set that featured in the show. Richard Lui Huang, who is here tonight and may present later, I think. Yes, okay. Maintains a data set called Banner Depot 2000. And these letters are a font of a sort taken by running OCR on Banner Depot and then cutting up those OCR fragments into individual letters that you can then use to fill in. Hi, WordHack. My name is Jamie. My last name is Brew. Can you see that? And each of these letters is coming from a randomly chosen character diced up from this collection of early internet banner ads. And this is unreleased. This is Form 1040R electronic ransom note. That's how we made the poster for the show. But the meat of the show was setting lyrics to songs that they didn't originally get sung to. That's what Robot Karaoke's about. And I'm going to demo one song with an addition to the catalog that I made specifically for Tax Day that we didn't get to sing, which is the Beatles' Taxman. We also have Big Yellow Taxi by Joni Mitchell. We didn't get to sing that either. So I'll leave it to a vote, actually. Do we want to sing Taxman? Big Yellow Taxi? Okay, Taxman, great. And then we did some IRS sources yesterday. We did Form 1040, which was fun. But I think the one we didn't get to do that I really wanted to, because I just heard about how extensive this thing is the Internal Revenue Manual. This is a giant, like many, many megabytes of text manual that all IRS employees are officially required to know. But I think in practice, no one can possibly know 40 megabytes of text. But maybe with the power of song and collectively, if we each remember one line from this, maybe we can outdo the IRS and finally get some organization up in Washington. Am I right? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to sing the Internal Revenue Manual to the tune of Taxman. Is this roughly in a place where we think we can read it? I'm going to drag that and drag that. Okay. Let's hope the sound is plugged in. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Discharge eligibility. Employee group code ECGC. Financial planning. Click file and save as. CIRM 8644. The status of the case may change. Click file and save as. Travel advances. Document the car transaction ID, the United States emerging schemes, return envelope, case agreed, it replaces straws, the word receipt. Rap time! Financial planning, invalid tax class. Produce the summary reports. Our contact information. Review the content of the file. Make markings in green. Invalid tax class. Federal and banks. Providing program oversight. Extended read and meeting times. Tax law. Invalid tax class. Travel advances. Progress report, the determinations reached. Name tags. Okay. Yeah, thank you. That's a little taste of robot karaoke. We actually do a robot karaoke show here at Wonderville from time to time. The next one is on Memorial Day. So come by May 25th for a full night of choose a song, choose a source text, and then try to sing the wrong words. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Jamie. Coming up next on the Open Projector, it's Aaliyah. Give it up for Aaliyah.
Hi, everyone. No, I don't have sound. Okay, so the premise of this open projector, by the time things load, is that last month I was at WordHack, and then I heard Todd say at the end of the next WordHack is April 16. And I thought, that's crazy. That's the night before I defend my PhD. And so I thought, I'm a PhD student, and my defense is tomorrow at 12 p.m. And so I thought, thank you. I thought, wouldn't it be really funny if I can whip up something that has nothing to do with my PhD for the night before my defense? And for the last 30 days, I've had this on my mind. I'm 4 more days to whip up something that has nothing to do with my PhD. I didn't have time, which is very surprising. And so today I was like, damn, I was really excited to get on the open projector and talk about not my PhD, but I don't have anything to talk about. So instead, I'm going to tell you about my PhD. So basically, I spoke at WordHack a year and a half ago, and I mentioned some of the research that I do. And so my PhD is 3 papers. For context, I'm in a political science PhD. I study technology and politics. And the 3rd paper, I think I mentioned the idea for, but I hadn't run the experiment yet. And I since have. I also didn't make any slides for WordHack. This is just the slide deck that I'm going to use tomorrow. You can see it. Where is it? This is my dissertation. And I'm just gonna improvise what I'll tell you from my slide deck. But basically, this is the 3rd paper in my PhD. It's about chatbots, which is very original. Background, so basically the way that we study chatbots or AI has changed a lot over time. And so historically, we used to think of this machine heuristic, which is the idea that people think of AI as computational and objective, so you think its outputs are more trustworthy or unbiased. But then, recently, we've all seen so much AI slop on the internet that now if you see a koala jumping over a river with I don't know, a kangaroo in her hand, people will just comment, this is AI, to mean this is fake. But also, if you see a video of a city being bombed in a place where you're not convinced the bombing is happening for political reasons, you also comment, this is AI, to mean this is fake. And so recently, our associations of AI have changed so much from AI means computational objective to a lot of people actually really distrusting it, which is good. But so most of the research that looks at AI in the news context, which is kind of what I study, say people actually really distrust AI news compared to human journalism. And people will say, maybe this distrust can even be excessive. They distrust this more than they should. Maybe this means that they're going to distrust journalism more broadly. But people don't consider the fact that AI takes on a lot of different forms usually. So when we say people distrust AI, there's often a conflation between, does that mean very agentic forms of AI, like a chatbot or an avatar, or does that mean just a piece of text with the comment, this is AI? So what I was interested in is looking at not just what AI is, but looking at the differences between how AI is packaged, right? Is it AI-generated text? Is it AI-generated visuals? Is it a conversational agent, like chatbot or DeepSeek or Claude? And I want to ask, this is so funny, I want to ask how do perceptions of AI or large language model content vary across user experiences? So if you're looking at static text versus looking at a chatbot, for example. And how does that influence, I'm supposedly a political scientist, trust, objectivity, ideological congruency, basically how you perceive political information on the internet, right? So basically, I run an experiment, and I'm going to run you through the setup really quickly, so you all should lock in right now. So you guys see this, sort of, right? Okay, nice. So basically, there's 3 categories, right? One is human label text. That means I give you a prompt that says, you'll now have 3 pieces of news summaries, our researcher sourced from popular news outlets. Please read them carefully and answer questions about them. And there's pieces of political news. The second is AI label text. So it's the same exact thing, but I tell them generated by an AI model. And the third is chatbot text, which is the same exact text that was presented in the 2 other categories. It's just that it's presented in a chatbot UI. So it tells you, how's your day? Asks you a few questions about yourself. It's using first-person pronouns. There's a typing animation. It's like left aligned, so it just looks like a chatbot. But the content is all constant, right? So it's not actually about whether chatbot content is different or AI-generated content is different. I'm only interested here in looking at how we perceive these technologies. And for each of these, I vary whether people see content with a Republican bias or with a Democrat bias. And basically what I'm interested in varying is whether you react differently to AI content if it's on your side or if it's not on your side, right? And so when you say this is AI, do you say that when the AI is agreeing with you, or are you posting screenshots of your conversation with Claude to win an argument on the internet, which a lot of people do. So after people read these texts, I basically asked them how they thought of their perceptions of trust, credibility, accuracy of the text content, if they thought it was biased or not, to which side it was biased. I'm not going to talk about that. Results, I can talk about that. So basically what I see is people, so basically I mentioned at the beginning that the research says that we distrust human news. But what I actually see is that if we trust human news this much, for example, and then AI news is this much, it goes back up for the chatbot. Right? And so when all of the literature is saying people actually distrust AI news, we should be careful about which AI we're talking about. So on objectivity, trust, accuracy, participants do penalize static AI text compared to static human text, but not for chatbots anymore, even though the content is the same, right? It just has a chatbot UI. And so the chatbot and the human treatments, as in like presentations, are rated very comparably. I'm not going to talk about regression tables, but tomorrow I will. And the results vary a lot by partisanship, so if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican, and whether it's on your side or not. So that thing I mentioned where we penalize AI text, it only happens really in my study if it's disagreeing with you. If it's agreeing with you, it's kind of fine. And it also varies by partisanship. So only Democrats are really penalizing AI, in my study at least. Republicans actually kind of like it. And so basically, what I find in the paper is people don't distrust political news produced by AI when it's in a chatbot format, which has a lot of worrying implications about conversations with chatbot about politics. I'm done, basically. And people actually often are less likely to be able to identify the bias in a chatbot than in the other treatments. So if a chatbot is giving you something, you do think maybe it's more objective, it's more unbiased, even though for the AI, you understand that it's AI, just because it's designed differently. And that's it.
If you in the audience would like to cram your dissertation into 5 minutes, we do have another show next month where it's graduation season. Get those master's theses and PhD papers into that 5-minute box. Let's go. Thank you so much, Aaliyah. That's such interesting research. Coming up next on the Open Projector, it's Jackie. Give it up for Jackie.
Dongle for USB-C. Okay, hello. I will share some work in progress. So this is a little behind the scenes of some stuff I'm working on. So I'll wait for the projector to cook a bit. Okay, yay. So my first WordHack where I spoke as a presenter, I shared this like risograph printed website. And if you're familiar with my work, you've probably seen me post about it a lot. It's how I farm engagement these days. And so basically, it's a website that's fully made with risograph prints. So everything you see here has been printed out down to like button states, like hover states, etc. So this one is like kind of framed from the idea of making like a website fully printed. And now I have the opportunity to, I'm going to close that, do more risograph work at my residency at the School of Visual Arts Riso Lab. But instead of that, a website, I'm trying to make a game, which is a fun kind of technical and artistic challenge. And so obviously this work has to be really constrained since I need to print it out in the physical. So what I'm looking at is like really constrained game format. So I'm looking at like early Flash games that are very kind of limited in the visual style, not 3D in the sense of like you're moving around every perspective, but you're kind of getting limited snapshots. And I was thinking about the environment of like a bathhouse as this sort of like communal environment. I kind of want to make a multiplayer game that people can just kind of explore and see other people in. And I like going to the spa. I don't know if anyone goes to like King Spa or Island Spa, New Jersey, but those are some of my favorite places to be. And I'm also just thinking about like the embodied web and what it means to have a website that is more embodied. And yeah, cool. So I did a very rough test of this a few weeks ago where I was just looking at one snapshot. So this is like the sinks in the bathhouse. So kind of imagine like you can draw on the mirror and then also like turn on both sinks. So this is sort of the interaction level that I kind of imagine for the bathhouse. And so all of this is printed out. I'm not like cutting apart the image and combining them. Every state and combination is something that I printed out. And I can show you this here. Let's see. Okay, and this is sort of how I'm creating that little moment. I have to, for risograph, you have to print out every color on a different ink. So first you have to separate that out, but I don't know if anyone uses Figma. Probably you do. For those of you who use Figma here, there's something called components where you can kind of slot in different variants of elements. So I'm pretty much breaking out every state into a different component for the element, and that helps me kind of create this system where I can do all these like different combinations and permutations. So I have all these like combinations of left sync, right sync, state of the mirror. So that's the little sync moment. And then maybe I'll just walk through the overall experience that I'm planning and in progress. So you can go to the spa through a front door. And I was thinking of like just making different seasons based off of like what season it currently is. There's a lobby where you can take a key and a towel, and then that will allow you to open a locker and like put your shoes in. So I did a little printing of this, and this is like this is with risograph printing. This is the lobby. There's a water cooler and a plant and a key that you can take, and I'll have the system store that. And these are the different views of that room. And here's some messages that it can show you. I think I probably need to cap the amount of people who can go on in multiplayer, so I have that accounted for here. I have like a vending machine that you can click on, so I printed that a few days ago too. So you can hover over the button and then get the drink that you want, and then take the drink. Something I'm working on now is the shoe locker, and then the fishbowl. So this will just be a kind of cute looping animation. Then I have the locker room, which I like these prints the best. I feel like these came out good. It's very like Fruitiger Arrow. And yeah, I just like the orange a lot. You can put your clothes in a locker and then fill the laundry basket. These are the sinks from before. I kind of went with the lineless style. I think that translates a little better to Rizzo, where the registration or the overlap between colors like needs to be as good as possible for it to look kind of tight. And then kind of the final part of this is the main bath area. So I'm kind of interested in like Japanese Sento public bathhouses where they have like a really epic mural, usually of Mount Fuji. So I think that's kind of interesting to play on visually here. These are some side views. I imagine like you can take a little shower, okay, and it's almost done. And then maybe click on the mural to like customize it. And all of these states would be changing and reflected globally, I think, which might be crazy. Baths, and finally a sauna room. I'm really intrigued by like gay male cruising and saunas. I've never experienced it myself, but I've heard stories. So I'm kind of like, ooh, maybe when I launch this, I'll be like 2 p.m. Saturday, meet me here and we'll put our cursors in a circle. So I think that might be fun. Cool, so hopefully I will have this done in the next month. Thank you.
So excited for that. Big King Spa enjoyer, ready to hang out at the bathhouse. I want to take this moment to say hello to our Twitch.television audience. I see you, Amelia, Scramblo, Tiggy. We got Scramblo said tax form earlier. That was it was when Jamie was presenting the tax form. And we also got a woo Figma for Figma. We're all connected. Excellent. Up next on the open projector, it's Bryce W. Give it up for Bryce.
Hello. This might be a very short demo. This is under heavy development, and it's 50,000 lines of 6502 assembly with 0 unit tests, so we'll see what happens.
Lock in.
Okay. We're just waiting for the... we're good. Okay. Yeah, so... Yeah, this was very spur of the moment. Shout out to Jenny. I was not going to present anything, but... this is a integrated development environment for the Commodore VIC-20, running natively on the Commodore VIC-20. It looks pretty good on the screen here. These borders are overscanned for the old computers used to have these big borders because CRTs at the time would have very inconsistent sizes. So the amount of overscan or underscan or whatever would be very inconsistent. So yeah, this is like I said, it's an integrated development environment. There is principally an editor, so that is the main interface for writing your program here. I guess we're just gonna write 6502 assembly. I'm assuming everyone here is fluent in 6502 assembly. So yeah, we first define a origin for our program at address 1000 hex, the $sign of course, the hex marker for 6502 assembly. Yeah, we'll just do hello world, I guess, because we don't have a lot of time here. So DB is defined byte. That's the directive to define literal bytes. What's this place? Wonderville. So yeah, this will be our message we're going to print. As you can see, it just auto-formatted That's one of the features of the editor. This is VI based, so I can do things like go to the end of the line, start of the line, top of the file, bottom of the file. We're going to need a loop because we're printing a string. It's zero terminated string, as you can see. So we're gonna, yes, 22 characters is the native horizontal resolution. We'll see what happens of Commodore VIC-20. So we're gonna load a message offset by the X register. Yeah, that's load A hex. So as you see, the editor thought this was a label because this is not a valid instruction. It was actually a typo, but when I fix it, it'll format it correctly as a opcode. So here we're loading the X register with the 0 value. You can see I'm highlighting. You can copy and paste, of course. Now we're going to call this is the 8-bit, Commodore 8 bits, pretty much all Commodore 8 bits use the same vector table for basic input-output operations. So this is the character out vector, FFD2. Then we're going to increment the X register and branch unconditionally back to loop. We need to set our done condition. So when we read the 0 byte here, we're going to branch to done. Also, yeah, we'll see if the assembler works. Like I said, there are no unit tests, and this is like my life for the last 10 years, and will be my life for the next 10 more. So yeah, I needed to rename the buffer because, well, we'll see. Okay, so it worked. So we have the output is 24 hex bytes, so whatever that is, 38, I guess, 36, sorry. And then this is the next major component. There's a source level debugger, so we can actually step through the assembly. Obviously here we're in ROM. The FFD2 is in ROM, so we've obviously not mapped that to the source code because there is no source code to map it to. But we can press Y to step out, and then if I press space, we are looking at the virtual state of the Commodore VIC-20. So there's a concept of virtual memory that we don't have time to get into, but as you can see, we're stepping through it. This is me seeing the virtualized state, and if I press G, I can just run the whole program, and there's hello, Wonderville. There's lots of other features. I don't know how much time we have, but you can also step through the program using this text interface. Okay, we got a minute and a half. Okay, we can, what do you guys want to see? So these are the registers. I can look at memory through this interface. There's also a graphical way to do the same thing. So here's like a memory viewer / editor. We did not get into breakpoints, and I don't want to because they might be broken, but I can set those here. I'll just stop debugging. There's also, there's no disk attached, but if I attach one, this will be a more impressive program if it works. This is 1,400 lines, so this almost fills the VIC-20's memory. I'm cheating. I'm using warp mode because the VIC-20 has a 1 megahertz processor here. It's for assembly. Okay, well, at least it assembled. So this is a very common demo effect you've probably seen. But yeah, we can, even something this complex, which is using interrupts, so this is a IRQ interrupt request triggered by the VIAs, which are the system's timer chips. But the debugger works with those as well. So awesome. Perfect.
One of my favorite things about WordHack is just seeing what people have been up to. Sometimes you don't know what people have been up to unless they show you. And I'm really happy we got to see that. I do not speak assembly fluently, but I feel like I learned a little bit. And also, I sometimes get the question of like, how do I format my slides for this Wonderville cave with the weird corners? And you can just put it on a VIC-20. It fits perfectly inside of this little square. So for future presenters, take note. Coming up next on the Open Projector, it's Scott S. Give it up for Scott.
We got HDMI. I am intimidated to be projecting on the dodecahedron, and I'm going to need presenter notes. So let's see. It's not a mirror. Don't mirror. Dun, 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 dun. Main display. All right. Let's see what happens if I hit this button. We're going to give this exactly one. Amazing. Okay. So in April of 2009, I had a week of getting the best spam emails that I ever received. It was a weird week. All of them had one common trait, which was they included these like really low-res GIFs of, erectile dysfunction medication. But they were also really beautifully formatted, weird snippets of text from a variety of different sources that I cannot, for the life of me, glean, like, why or where. Were these made by a human who was like doing some copy pasta action? Was this bot generated? I don't know. I've Googled some of these phrases, and like all I can find are references from like some log of someone else's email from April of 2009 of these sentences. So you can find like, I lived in a typical OC tract neighborhood, just randomly on a like Ubuntu server, something. All of these are beautiful. I just like sharing them. The colors, the formatting, the typefaces. They're just weird. I'm gonna click through them and I'm gonna do a dramatic reading of one of them. They've also got just great subject lines here. This one is "Don't be a twit." This one was kind of one of my classic favorites, was "Springtime for Twitter," which is just, and now I've had "Springtime for Hitler" stuck in my head all week, so thanks. Spam emails circa 2009. This is on-the-fly creativity. This is, "Would your blog get an A?" And there's some like sentences and phrases that repeat between them. Some of this seems to be like someone's like food diary, maybe. It seems like some of it is like one person who's really obsessed with knitting. So it's a lot of references to like needles, which at first I was like, oh no. And then I was like, oh good. Yeah, so we get "I hate in quilting and knitting and sewing when the designs get all fancy just because they can." This is "Looking and feeling young is more possible than ever." And all of these are between April 23rd and April like 27th, 2009. And I have no real understanding of why or how this happened, but I'm just so happy it did. I think I was in the middle of getting sued at that time, so this was just like the happy dopamine energy that I really needed in my life. Yeah, like really, really happy. Like that was me for a minute. Yeah, this is a doctor who only makes house calls. And this is going to be my dramatic reading here. I'm going to take a deep breath. I will. Please hold me accountable if you don't see the results posted next week, the inspiration pieces. I remember that too. It was really fun. I hope it gets warm again real soon. I can't wait to go to the park again with you two. Love, Mom. I think they are so cute. I love her little handwriting, and she's beyond excited to pass them out. Some other projects she and I looked at, but didn't get around to, of course. From Martha, of course. I swear nothing makes me happier than a peaceful space and some needles. A few months in the life of this infertile girl. I spent a few years calming down my teen angst and attempting to grow up. I loved San Luis Obispo. I was ready to chill there for good. I get a lot of emails about what I eat and how it elects PCOS, so I hope you don't mind if I just answer all the questions here instead of going through each email. And then suddenly, and to my surprise, I met and married the man I had no idea I was dreaming of. But he was perfect for me and better than anything I had imagined or sought after before. More earrings, get yours here. My room is clean and I'm knitting. What do you look for in a best friend? She follows me around all day just in case she might be needed for something. Anything cute little Penny is just a wee dog, but she feels strongly that part of her duty is to scare the crap out of anyone who gets near our house, just so they know no one is going to mess with her family, not on her watch. She is undeterred by bigger animals and scary men. They all get yelled at to stay away. We lived in a corner in a typical OC tract neighborhood. Diller and boyfriends came and went through all this. Some I thought I could marry, some I was mad at myself for hanging around, some that broke my heart because that would make me happy. Dinner, I kind of snack or have a lunch-type meal again. Dinner is tricky because I still need to prepare dinner for my family, so I do. But I'm not super hungry at night, so I just eat whatever broccoli, a little of what they're having, or snacky stuff, or chicken wings, or crispy thin crust pizza. But I always end the day with a low-carb ice cream bar. One thing I enjoy about Facebook is the old pictures that friends and fam upload to walk down memory lane together with you. Thank you, and if you are looking for special offers and deep discounts on Viagra or Cialis, you can go to 211234.com, or if you need an alternative, you can go over to 993838.com. Thank you very much. I cede my time.
What a great presentation. Thanks so much for sharing that, Scott. That brings to mind, WordHack was online for like 2 years or so during the pandemic. And one of our pandemic shows, we had Fern Ramajo give a talk about like the early days of like modern large language model AI image generation. And the talk was just like, these are the good old days. Like the images are still recognizably bad in ways that are fun to make fun of. And I just got a sense looking at that, like we're never gonna have text that bad again. And like there's just like a special badness of like when you had to do some copy pasting and some slopping together of various sources, and you would end up with these wild transitions. And love to see it. Thanks so much for sharing that, Scott. Coming up next on the Open Projector, it is our good friend, Richard Loy Huang. Give it up for Richard.
Just use this. No, I upgraded. So, yeah.
And do you have sound?
Let's see if I have sound.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do that lenticular stick.
Yes. These are our new product. Let's see if I have. Which one is the sound? Is it BMD HDMI?
Oh, no, it's this cable.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to extend. All right, can everyone see the presentation? Can just do. All right, this is okay. Well, this is fine. And I'm going to drag a good friend in. So I'm going to. So say hello to Yvonne. I'm going to make him smaller, so that he will appear as a office assistant with our Google Docs. Let me turn the audio on. Hi, your audio is on. Do you want to say something? Can you say something?
He's trying.
He's okay. Uh-oh. Well, then, if this thing doesn't work, we can't really do one shtick that we planned for today. All right, I'm switching to my MacBook speakers. So, hi, can you try something? Can you say something?
Hello,
Oh.
I'm looking at a Twitch stream, so it's really trippy.
All right,
can
people all hear the voice? Okay, good. So, all right. So I'm going to put you on the side, and we'll start. So let me also pull this thing up. So hello everyone, my name is Richard Wei Huang, and this is Yufeng Zhao. We are a group of, we are a artistic collective known as Futuristic Telecommunications. I am a creative technologist, researcher, and artist studying web history and web archives, and Yufeng is a creative technologist studying creative technology stuff. So I want to start our talk today by talking about shaving cream. So this, from the 1920s to the 1960s, there was a brand of shaving cream in the United States called Burma Shave. Today, Burma Shave is usually remembered not for the quality of their products, but for their advertising campaign. Starting in 1926, Burma Shave Company set up thousands of roadside signs across the United States, consisting lines of text that form a short poem when read together. So these are designed to be seen by drivers as they drive down rural highways. Starting in 1926, I just repeated myself. So in the 40s and 50s, these signs were ubiquitous across the United States, and they have also appeared in a lot of movies and cartoons from that era. And they have also inspired a lot of homages and parodies too. So for example, let's see if I can play this. Let's see if I can play this from here. Well, you know what? This thing, Google Slides is on a vendetta campaign against me for some reason. I'm here this week for a job talk, and this exact thing happened during my job talk. So, anyways, pretend you have seen a Tom and Jerry clip where where Jerry tricked a sleepy Tom into sleeping in his owner's bed using a Burma Shave poem. This is a poem. This is a poem titled "A Commuter's Lament: A Close Shave" that is installed in the pedestrian tunnel at the 42nd Street subway station. So as commuters walk through the tunnel, they will see the poem, which reads, "Overslept, so tired. If late, get fired. Why bother? Why the pain? Just go home, do it again." Very sad poem. So why am I talking about these poems? For those of you who don't know, Yufeng Zhao and I made this project called Banner Depot 2000, and we first presented this project at WordHack in December 2023. It is an archive of more than 22,000 late 90s and early 2000s historical web banners, most of which in English and Chinese. We believe it is currently the largest publicly available archive of historical banners on the web. It also has a poetry maker feature where you can compose a banner ad poem using static frames of banner images and verses. So we thought, just as Burma Shave ads have become icons of 1950s Americana, so have these 90s internet banners now started to signify a kind of warm, fuzzy feeling towards the 90s internet. So we asked ourselves, how can we reimagine the experience of encountering these banner ads on the information superhighway? Today, I'm honored to present on behalf of our collective Futuristic Telecommunications Banner Highway 01, which is a series of visual poems composed of banner ad frames to be experienced as you drive down the internet superhighway. We're going to do a short recital. So this is how it looks like. Let me make sure the window is sized right. Okay, this is much better. Okay, Yufeng, can you read the text? Yeah. I'm asking. Let's. I'm asking our office assistant friend. All right. Yifeng, are you there?
It's like in speed.
Oh, it's gone. Oh. Will somebody, okay, so will somebody do the honor of reading the English text out while I'll read the Chinese translation? Because it's a bilingual experience, so we'll have a set of English language poems and a Chinese language and a set of Chinese language poems. You can do that?
Yeah.
All right, Todd. So why don't you start?
Okay.
The first line.
Get on the fast lane.
开上快车道，
To the bank.
通往银行，
Get hired.
受聘上岗，
Brain at work.
工作中的大脑，
See things.
看见
Wild.
狂野的东西，
Up the corporate ladder.
攀上职场的阶梯。
Are you often in public places dressed only in your underwear?
你是否在公共场所只穿内衣，
An exercise in freedom.
行使自由的权利，
Post it on the web.
发到网上去？Okay, and then we can drive all the way to some Chinese language ads. All right, so I will do the Chinese verses, and you can do the English translation. 汽车是旅行的工具，
The automobile is an instrument of voyage.
想跟我上路吗？
Want to hit the road with me?
开到你家里，
Reaching your home.
进入我的心，
Entering my heart.
网际网路由此近，
The internet begins here.
上山下海，
Up to the mountains and down to the sea.
都市路如织，
The city streets are like a tapestry,
千叶纸迷津。
guiding through countless nights of confusion.
I think this is a perfect ending of my presentation today. So, okay, thank you everyone. And last thing, this is included in the newest issue of the HTML review. Since I think Max and Shelby hasn't been here to announce the HTML review yet. Great. I will have the honor to announce that the newest issue of HTML review is out. It is a collection of e-literature, net art, web stuff. Feel free to check that out. Thank you very much.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like Banner Depot 2000s is like one of the infinity stones in the WordHack cinematic universe. It's just very, you can feel it coursing through the DNA of this space. Love to get a presentation from Richard and Yufeng. They're going to be back for a featured presentation in July, so come back then. Coming up next on our open projector, it's Nick Montfort. Give it up for Nick.
Thank you, Todd. Take a look at this and hand it around and back, and I'll give you one to inspect as well. So I want to introduce. I'll let the people on Twitch know about it too. I want to introduce this third anthology that I've done. This is it. It's called Global Letter. And for those familiar with the United States Postal System, you can buy a Global Letter stamp. And I was interested in the idea. This is actually something that qualifies as a letter, according to the U.S. Postal Service. In fact, I went there to the post office today, and they have a special template with a slot, and they check to see if the envelope fits in there, and it does. And so you can take this, put it in a envelope, stamp it with this global letter stamp that costs, I believe, less than $2. And I can take something that I've personally printed, bound, and edited, and send it to Djibouti, which I think is pretty nice in this day and age. So Global Letter is an anthology of human-written, computer-generated text, programs, and their output, and these 14 people contributed. So the booklet is what it is, but I'll just sweep through it very quickly. So this is a piece by Andy Wallace, Objective Problem Solving. And hopefully, Andy, I'm trying to entice him to come to this place. He's part of the Death by Audio Collective and involved with Wonderville and stuff, and present his work along these lines. But he's done a lot of stuff like this, these JavaScript node programs that generate, in many cases, slightly texturally different concrete poems every time. There's one by Angela Cheng, a Python program that creates postcards of the sort that people would send back and forth to China, subtly checking to see if they're doing okay. Oh, and we have a first in this issue, which is not the first time that there's a contribution by Daniel Timken or esoteric programming language, but the first time there's a massive printer's error. I actually was confused because Daniel has another language in which there's two almost visually indistinguishable characters. And I thought that's what this stuff was, as I was trying to get it into this monospace grid very determinedly. So this is all typographically a mistake on my part. And when we do, this is an open edition. 100 of them are already printed, but who knows? This might be fixed in the future, or there might be an errata sheet. But all of these, you know, the code is there. You could type it in if you wanted to. In fact, this is another Node JavaScript program that produces output. It's the third in a series that Helen She-Wolf-Seng, who's presented here, has done. Jörg Piringer, Austrian, a digital sound concrete poet, also a member of the Vegetable Orchestra, has this piece which produces something like the word worldwide extended for the number of countries in the world. John Cayley has this web page. This is the entire text of the web page, and it transforms any text in the text field that you put into it. Then this is Kavi Devori's work in COBOL for those aficionados, in case 6502 assembly isn't esoteric enough for you as a real programming language that you didn't devise yourself. Lee Tussman has this piece in Lua, like Jörg Piringer's. Liza Daly has this piece, which I did get right, actually, in this case. These are hieroglyphs, and they are the special symbols typographically for hieroglyphs that have been lost. So we don't know what those characters look like, but they're nevertheless represented in Unicode. And yeah, lots of other fun stuff. This is our first contribution by Marina McCord from the first thing we have from Brazil that's in here, which is a code poem that's also executable, also JavaScript and Node. Pierre de Paz has a Ruby program. Shout out to Pierre. And we've got work by Rafael Perez y Perez from Mexico City. That's in Delphi, sort of Prolog-like language. Local hero Ranjit Bhatnagar producing here also something referential to the mail and postal theme, airmail in Python. This actually is animated, and so if you run it in the terminal window, these will fly left to right across the screen. So there's an incentive to type it in. And the last thing in the book, which finally broke me, this is not going to be a recurring, not going to become a zine, but it's going to be the last of this trilogy that I did, Our Generation, Run, 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 and then Global Letter. This is by Vinicius Marquette, also from Mexico City, and a reference to Clemente Padin's Pampas. I have a few of these, and yeah, they would be for sale on my site for $6, but like $5 is a more even number. So if you want one, I'm not going to be very assertive as a retail presence here, but come and find me. And if you are interested, I'd love to, without even putting a stamp on this and sending it to Djibouti, get it to someone who is fascinated by work like this. Thanks much.
Thank you, Nick. Love to see so many people who've come through this space published in that work. Also checking the Twitch chat for Ranjit. I know you're representing the WordHack Park Slope contingent in Twitch chat. Shouts out to anyone who commutes from South Brooklyn. We see you, we appreciate you. And then coming up next to close out this all-star open projector, it's Daniel Temkin. Give it up for Daniel.
All right. Let's see if the projector gods are with me today. Ah, there we go. Awesome. Okay. So I'm Daniel Temkin. I'm the person who has the misprint in Nick's zine, so I decided I would show the piece. How it's meant to be seen, give you a little bit of an experience of it. Yeah. So my piece is in a language that I wrote called Valence, which I have presented on here once before, briefly. Valence is a language that is built around, it gives us the ability to write programs that are polysemantic. And what I mean by that is, in English, we can have sentences like, Billy saw the group with the telescope, which can be interpreted in two different ways. In one way, Billy is looking at the group through the telescope, and in the other way, it is the group that has the telescope. So a very basic thing that we can express in English that has two different meanings. But what if we designed a programming language that allowed us to do the same thing? So I decided to create a language that has that ability. So everything in Valence, every symbol in Valence has multiple meanings. There's only 8 characters, and just for ease of use, I decided to use these ancient Greek measuring signs. And so each of these is a command or an expression. They can take 0 parameters, 1 or 2, and they're also digits. And it's octal digits because I have 8 characters. If I end up with 7 characters, it would have been in base 7, but 8's a little bit easier. It happened to cover everything I wanted to do. So basically what happens is, if I start writing some code, it generates every single interpretation of the program. Right now, these are not runnable because they're while loops that don't close. But if I give us another character, now we have 4 different versions of the program, and 2 of them are runnable. So it'll run those 2. Sorry, can people see it? It's a little dark, I guess. Let me try to move this up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure how visible this is to people. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So basically what's happening here is we are try to get this a little bit more visible. Okay. So basically what happens is we have 2 different versions of this program. One of them gives us, so each of them is adding this value, but this value could be seen as the digit 2, or it could be seen as a variable. Right now it happens to be initialized with 2, but if on the previous line I have assigned something else to it, like 3, then it will have a different value, or 0. And so now we have a whole bunch of different versions of the program, and they'll all run in different ways. So basically, the piece that I made for this zine has only one difference between the two different interpretations. So I'm going to put this in here. And we have many lines of code. And there's two different versions of the program. So there's one version that's up here and one version that's down here. And the thing about this is there's only one line that's different. It is the third line. It's assigning 0, or it's assigning this symbol, which is set to 1. So everything that happens after that line of code is based on math that's using either a 0 or a 1. And if I run this, we can see what happens. I'm going to set this to run a little bit slowly. So you can see it's sort of taking its time. Maybe 5 seconds is too long. Let's do 2 seconds. All right, so there we go. I think it's still, oh, there we go. OK, now it's doing 2 seconds. All right, so one of them is going there, and the other one is going to a different value. OK, its go-tos also can be calculated. So I'm going to go to 0 plus 5, which is a label which is set either here or here based on these different digits. But you can see what's actually happening. Down here, we have the digit t, and we're all adding it to the string. So we're building one string here. At the bottom, we're building a different one. And there at the very end, we get separate or together. So all that is based on math using zeros or ones multiplied by a whole bunch of different things that get added to other things and end up with these different characters. So that's what valence gives us as a language. So I just want to mention, OK, so valence is a language that I developed for my book, 44 Esselangs. It is one of 44 of these languages. And I just want to quickly mention that I also write a blog called Esoteric Codes, and today I posted something about 5 languages that are built on natural language. Most of them are by other code poets. There's a piece by Catherine Yang called Koam, which is a very beautiful language that looks like this. A piece by Cassidy Diamond called Love Languages, which is brainfuck encoded into syntax trees. So check out Esoteric Codes if this is your kind of thing. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Wow, what an open projector. Let's give it up for all our open projector presenters. That was a stacked lineup featuring many past WordHack presenters. Love to see our presenters coming back and also people presenting up here for the first time. If that looks like something you could do, you don't have to know about a programming language that no one else does to present up here. You can present about all kinds of things. You can give a little talk or do a little performance or just show a little website or a game or a poem that you worked on. We love having all kinds of stuff up here. So if you think you might like to share at a future one, please come back and sign up. I usually put the sign-up sheet out here, out front around 6:45. It's just kind of first come, first serve, and there's always spots reserved for people who haven't presented before. We are now steering into our mid-show break, but don't go far. We have 2 amazing featured presenters coming up. We're going to be hearing from Jenny Goldstick and Ahmad Ansari, so don't go far. This is where I would like to shout out not only our tech person, Rodi, who bravely turned off all of the arcade machines, but also the wonderful Chantal at the door and Jason at the bar. Let's give it up for your Wonderville staff. And let's take 13 minutes and go get a drink, go to the bathroom, and come back here in 13 minutes. See you soon. presenter and attendee of WordHack. Yeah, give it up for Jenny. We can do a pre-clap, and then I'll say some words, and we can do a post-clap as well. Jenny is an amazing designer, illustrator, data artist, someone who works with narrative and visual art, connecting the two, and has a really exciting new public artwork that she's going to be talking to us about, which you can go see. It's in Manhattan, Hudson Square. It was Hudson and Spring, right? I've been told on good authority there's a Sweet Green right there, and if you want to walk along the water and encounter this public artwork, you can. You'll hear much more about it in a little bit, but please welcome back to WordHack, Jenny Goldstick.
Hello. All right. I'm just going to present from here. Let's see how that goes. Hi. I'm Jenny. Perhaps you remember me from a past WordHack project I've presented here called This Is My Memory of First Heartbreak, which I can't quite piece back together, which was a point-and-click, choose-your-own-adventure style graphic memoir that ended in heartbreak in 4 clicks or less, or your money back. I also developed some story-focused workshops in my career where teams of interdisciplinary creatives used consistent storytelling variables, such as like a common story arc and a protagonist, and a common theme to produce unique stories in a variety of digital and analog formats. I also got to design a choose-your-own-adventure book based on the Oregon Trail game, here. And I got to work with comic artist Richard McGuire on the interactive version of his prolific comic Here, which centers on the corner of a room in a house, and it jumps back and forth in time. And I even got to work with the lovely and talented past WordHack speaker, Allison Parrish, on a set of playful machine learning tools that encourage users to create code-generated nonsense. That's on the right. With Tim. Shout out to Tim. Okay, so all of that being said, what did I do now, keeping all those things in mind? I'm here to talk about these, which are the result of a public arts grant that I received last year, and I'll be talking about the narrative metrics that I used to generate them. Okay, so what did I do? With a scrappy, creative super team, I turned neighborhood stories into illustrated data portraits that are now displayed as 20 hand-painted spheres across Manhattan tree beds, the most well-considered tree bed spheres in town, I think I can say confidently. Okay, so here they are. They look like this, and they're planted throughout the tree beds, like I said, and along Spring Streets and Washington Streets. And here's another image of them. Hang on. I guess I'll go into slideshow mode so you can see this in action. Okay, so and here they are in all of their glory, like in the client workspace, and you can see on the right, spinning one around so you can see all the different parts of it, the anatomy of the sphere, so to speak. All right. So I said they were data portraits, but what actually is a data portrait? You might be asking yourself. To me, I ultimately felt that this meant that each of the spheres should represent real trends in data that was generated from the community where this project was based. And given my background, I of course felt that the data should be generated from stories, or what I will refer to as narrative metrics. There were 3 parts to this project. There was a data collection phase, a data analysis phase, and an artwork production phase. So to begin, the spheres looked like this. So from the beginning of the project, we knew that we would be working on spheres and that there would be some form of data-generated representational art on it and some data visualization on another part of it And that was all part of the proposal. Basically, I proposed them this. Also, we knew that there would be 20 of them, but how we represented the data on them, how we structured them, how we sorted them, all of that was to be discovered. It was all up in the air. Okay, so when we started data collection and we knew that we'd be collecting stories, we needed to start with some kind of question or theme. Many different questions were explored and many themes, but in the end, we ended up running with this very open-ended question of what is a remarkable experience that you have had within the last month? So in the broadest sense, this leaves us with a few areas to leverage. Like, we know that it's about things that people find memorable. We also know it's like what is top of mind or like in the zeitgeist. There's also recency. What do people even perceive as stories that are worth sharing? Also, we asked for stories where the storyteller is the main character. It's something that they did or something that happened to them, and then importantly, how they reacted. There were also some story requirements. The story needs a beginning, middle, and end. With such an open-ended question, I knew I needed something that was going to yield some type of data, some quantitative data, so it needs a beginning, middle, and end. And it needed some specific story reflections. After they told the story, we would ask the storyteller, did you change as a result of this experience? And we also asked them how they felt at the end of the story. And then lastly, they had to self-identify as a character role from a set list that we had made. But they could add to the list if they felt strongly that their character was not represented. Okay, so then we embarked on our data collection with all of that preparation done. And leading a team of story recorders in bars, parks, and on the streets across the neighborhood, we recorded people and collected over 100 stories. And as you might imagine, the stories were all over the map. We heard about milestones such as graduation and small slice of life stories such as witnessing someone giving up their seat for someone else on the subway. We heard about births, we heard about deaths, and basically everything across the spectrum of humanity. So I'm going to share a few examples. We collected audio, so I'm going to, this is exactly what some of the storytellers said. So this was a story, it was a celebrity encounter bike accident where someone was doored by John Cena. True story. According to the storyteller. Also, by the way, we made a rule that we always believe the storyteller. So according to the storyteller, this is what happened. And he said, he puts his number in my phone and I say, what's your name? And he goes, John. And I go, John like John fucking what? And then, of course, he says, John Cena. And then just to show you an example of like how wildly different all these stories can be, here's another story that we call the volleyball rescue. And this storyteller says, although there's netting that goes quite high up, maybe 30, 50 feet, sometimes some people get very emotional. And in that moment, they'll hit the ball or they'll kick the ball by accident and it will go flying over the net. And you'll watch it almost in slow motion, bounce once or twice and plopped right out of view into the Hudson. And this is a story where someone jumped into the Hudson River not once but twice in one day to save a volleyball for his volleyball team. He was a hero. I don't expect you to read all these, I guess, but just to show you like the wide range of stories, there was like the guy who was doored by John Cena, there was the volleyball rescue, just a few more here. Again, there were like 100 of these. These are just examples. But there was Crushing on the Bestie's Ex, which was the story of a young woman who orchestrated an elaborate plan to encounter her best friend's attractive ex, but faced conflict over pursuing him. Very relatable. There was also the viral fame and Timothée Chalamet lookalike contest, which was the story of a comedy group member who unexpectedly placed 6th in the Timothée Chalamet lookalike contest, and he went viral across social media platforms. There was also Facing My Fear of Quail Eggs, which is the story of someone who overcame their fear of eating quail eggs, describing it as an unforgettable experience they never thought they would accomplish. While they completed the challenge and found it good, they remain uncertain about repeating and unlikely to purchase quail eggs regularly. Fair enough. And then I decided to include one about friendship. We had a lot of travel stories and a lot of friendship stories, so this is a representative tale of that. Unexpected friendship in Amsterdam. A trip to Amsterdam during King's Day with someone the storyteller barely knew turned into an adventure when the city was covered in glass and their accommodation had bed bugs, but in the end it like built the bonds of a new friendship. Positive ending on that one. So, how to identify trends in story data from the public with wildly varying content, story length, and perspectives. That was the challenge that was set before me. Okay, so that brings us to the analysis phase of this project. I guess I'll go into slideshow again just so I can show this little video of my analysis Excel doc. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, tonally, the stories varied, the length of the stories, the subject matter, of course, varied. So the only thing I could think to do was to basically try on different types of narrative metrics and kind of like see what sticks and see like what something interesting might emerge from this like seemingly disparate set of stories. So using the transcriptions of the audio that we collected during the data collection process, I tried on all different kinds of metrics, such as, of course, location data, demographic data, like where was the storyteller from. There were also, like, I studied something about, like, the story present, like, does the story actually occur right now, or is it something where they're looking in the past or planning for something in the future? There's also story duration, significant object in the story, tonal shifts in the story, which I'll get to, a story's general themes, the storyteller's purpose for telling the story, like were they unburdening something or sharing an accomplishment, all these different metrics we explored. So I'm going to show you a couple areas of the data that I, like specifically that I explored, and then one of them I ended up getting used in the final, and one of them did not make it, but I think it's kind of interesting. So this one did not make it to the final spheres, but when people tell you a story live, it usually doesn't have like a perfect structure, right? Like when you call your mom or call someone and you're just talking, you're not like thinking like, oh, is there a beginning, middle, end? Am I telling the perfect hero's journey, whatnot? It just doesn't usually work like that. But I tried to dissect the stories for things I knew would probably exist across the set. So in this case, I identified a significant object from each story and I categorized them. So here are just some of those objects and the categories that they fit into. And again, there's like over 100 of these, but just for example, so you can see the wide range. Like there was like a clock that was important to someone's story, the bus stop, a mysterious bar, Daniel Radcliffe. We had quite a few celebrity sightings. A golf cart, a police car, a party invite, a broken oven, a job acceptance letter, a cigarette, quail eggs, of course, a swimming waiver, and many, many more. And I was able to divide those into categories, like transportation and movement, food, dining, and social spaces, personal and sentimental items, work tools and functional items, and communication and technology. And then I was able to take it a step further and think about what was the function of that most important object in the story. So I also came up with categories for those. Was it, a tool of discovery, a unifying element, a hero's weapon, something that was an inciting incident, or did it represent a challenge, or perhaps it was a prized reward? And then I would take the data even further than that, which is I was able to identify where the important object in the story got used. Again, like there's not really a structure to many of the stories, but we can kind of identify like an exposition, a rising action, a climax, a falling action, and a resolution. So for example, to go back to the volleyball story, I was able to generate this data. So in that story, obviously the significant object is going to be the volleyball. And in that case, the category is that it's a work tool or functional item. Its function is that it's the prized reward. The way that the storyteller told the story is like they couldn't play volleyball anymore. These volleyballs are super expensive. Like somebody had to jump in, So definitely the prized reward. And the story structure placement is that it appears in the rising action of the story. It gets presented like right after he sets the stage. She's like, we were at these volleyball courts, like there were these high nets. Oh, by the way, there are these awesome volleyballs that we play with, and then one of them got lost. So, well, actually two, because he had to jump in twice. But anyway, okay, so that was one area of data that I explored, but ultimately we didn't use. But just to show you an example of like how I tried to go through and generate these data points that could be visualized. Another area that I studied that did get used was tonal shifts. So again, when people are just talking to us and giving us stories, like we couldn't possibly have determined like a structure for them, but we could break it down in the simplest terms of like, are they speaking in are they happy or sad? Are they speaking like positively or negatively, and how does that change over the course of the telling of the story? That we could do. There were technically 6 types of tonal shift possibilities. Whoops, sorry. Of course, there's all positive, all negative. There's negative to positive, positive to negative. There's negative, positive, negative, and then positive, negative, positive. By the way, I don't know technology like a lot of you guys, so I like went through manually and marked every single one of these. Just saying. And then an example of that in the celebrity encounter bike accident example where the guy got doored by John Cena, there actually was no shift in his tone. It was all negative. And actually his defining emotion was rage. So he's fine. Everyone's fine. Anyway, okay, so that was all of my data analysis. And then I had to take all of that and somehow like produce artwork from all of this stuff. So that's where I'm going to talk about, oops, these artists, these amazing artists that I brought in. So I brought in Jensen Eckwell and Nikki Shosha, 2 illustrators, very talented leap of faith illustrators is what I will call them, because I brought them in at the beginning of the project when we didn't even have data yet. So they didn't know like what they were illustrating. They were like real troopers. There were also some like delays on the project and like a lot of questions, but they just sort of waited patiently for it all to unfold. So while I was analyzing data, I did this sort of like initial high scan of the data where I could at least tell them the subjects of the things that they would be illustrating. And I determined that the sort of easiest things to interpret from the stories for like a passerby, like, because it's public art, there has to be something understood with immediacy. They're not gonna like dive deep into my data like I would like them to. Was most common character roles that appeared within the stories and also the top lessons learned. This was very easy because the character roles were reported to us by the storytellers. The top story lessons, I actually worked with a writer and we looked through the stories together and came up with them basically. And I don't have a ton of time to talk about the artwork production itself, but I do want to show you what they came up with. So these are all of Nikki's drawings for the most common character roles in the story. The most common character roles were adventurer, thinker, creator, collaborator, peacemaker, visionary, witness, and influencer. And I didn't tell her what to draw. I gave her these prompts and she came up with this stuff. So really, really amazing. Both her and Jensen are very creative. And these are the top story lessons learned, which were illustrated by Jensen. And I'll read a few of these. The first one says, challenges are overcome through perseverance and a little help from friends. And then another one, the windows, second from the left on the bottom, says, compassion and kindness are all around us even when we least expect it. So those are the illustrations. And then there were two separate systems of data visualization, one for each set of those spheres. So what you're looking at now is the complete set. This is a character sphere, it's the adventurer sphere, and then this is the data visualization you'd see wrapping around the back of it and under it. And this is the sphere for challenges are overcome through perseverance and a little help from friends, the story lesson sphere, and the supporting data visualization. And then I'll let you know how these actually work. So each data flower on this, I call these things flowers, each of this is a separate element, is one story where a storyteller played the role of an adventurer. The length of the flower is the epicness of the story. The concentric circle is the perceived impact of the story. And then this pink dot, if it is there, indicates that the storyteller said they changed as a result of the story. Oh, and lastly, kind of an interesting data point, this distinction of like what's pointing up versus down, it indicates whether that person or that character was driven by external action or internal action. And interestingly, we did see some trends that way, like adventurers were more external, for example, whereas like thinkers were more internal, of course. Okay, so here is the data visualization system that goes on the back of the story lesson spheres. This is more about like amalgamated data, so there is no like representation of individual stories on these. But the green rectangle represents the beginning of a story. The checkered rectangle represents the end of a story. And all the lines that go in between represent those tonal shift possibilities that we were looking at earlier. The most represented tonal shift in stories where the lesson was represented is the thickest. And then the tonal shifts that are not like yellow, they did not exist in those stories, in this set of stories. And then lastly, we were able to identify which character roles were actually most prominent, like which character roles learned the lesson that was represented by the sphere. So like in this case, this symbol is a piece of the creator illustration from Nikki's set. Go back to that really quick. This one. And so we were able to identify that creators were most likely to learn this lesson. Yeah, and then here they are, like here's all the illustrations, and here they are again out on Spring and Washington streets on view through September, if they make it. 2 were already sadly stolen. But Nikki actually said, like, she was like, I'm glad that it ended in an art heist. I was like, okay. Yeah, anyway, there were 2 of Nikki's spheres. Anyway, and here's Nikki's spheres. In the tree beds out there, if you see the spheres, let me know, the ones that are missing. And, you know, there was just like a huge team of people that worked on this project, and that was probably like the coolest part for me. Like there were so many stressors. It was like my first public arts grant ever, and there were so many like specifications, and dealing with the data like was a lot, but it was awesome to be able to give like so many people, you know, an opportunity to do what they love, you know. Yeah, that's it. I put the lead artist names up here. You should look them up. They're super talented, and they are working freelance artists, so please hire them. This is my Instagram. And then there were a bunch of other people that worked on this project, from like the story collection to hand lettering on the spheres. We had a bunch of art assistants, but some fabricators, and even a sign painter who helped me paint the data visualizations. And that's it. Do you do questions or? Usually we don't. Oh, okay. Well, I would do questions if you guys want to have a couple of questions. I know it's a very in-depth project. Oh, okay. So actually, they're all represented on the spheres in some way, shape, or form, because like the story lesson spheres, like that challenges sphere has like 30 stories that fall under that category. So they're all like represented in some way, shape, or form, just not like individually. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's actually a great question, because they were super heavy. I'm not used to working with physical objects. I should also say that. Like moving them was difficult. Maybe like 20 pounds. The top was like fiberglass, so that was heavy. But the steel poles were super light. It was weird. They were top heavy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mean, maybe pretty even. It kind of depended on the type of story. Like, some people were just like, when I asked them to tell me a story, they'd be like, I saw something, and it changed something inside me. Like, somebody was like, I saw someone give up their seat for someone else on the subway, and I was kind of like, okay, so what? But then like, sorry, but then through talking to them, I understood. He was like, oh, like, since the pandemic, I've been like inside my house and kind of like lost faith in humanity, and I wouldn't have expected someone to do that, and it made an internal change for him where he kind of restored his faith in humanity. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thanks, Todd.
All right, while Jenny's getting packed up here. Yeah, so I play volleyball, and I can tell you with 100% certainty that the volleyball that was rescued from the water is the Wilson OPTX AVP game ball. I can tell you this because after like toughing it out with plasticky $30 volleyballs for a long time, just yesterday I bought the $100 Wilson OPTX AVP game ball, and I can already feel the extent to which I would do anything to not lose it. I like feel like a small amount of like embarrassment and shame to have a $100 sports ball, and it just would be really embarrassing to lose. And I really related to that story, and I hope I will relate as strongly to its corresponding sphere. Thank you so much for that, Jenny. That was a really cool project. Also, I know Jensen Eckwald. Her art is great. Really cool to see those on the spheres. And now we are at our final presenter. Really excited to welcome back to WordHack Ahmad Ansari. Ahmad is a really amazing programmer, a website maker, and internet archivist. I create websites and teach kind of like early internet style web design as part of my teaching practice, and I love teaching Ahmad's curation, Palestine Online, which is an incredible collection of early Palestinian internet projects. I think there is just a level of, and this is part of how I teach this style of web design, there's an incredible level of like humanity and authorship in just kind of like rough handmade websites, and I love including some of these early internet websites in my class to people just put so much of themselves on there and make just like often weird and confounding design choices or editorial decisions about what to include, and I just love seeing that and all the different curatorial decisions Ahmad has made. Really excited to see the updates he has for us this evening. Please give it up for Ahmad Ansari.
Thank you so much, Todd. Let me make sure my night shift is off. I had it on the whole time through the last time I did this, and only realized after. Classic rookie WordHack mistake. Okay, awesome. Hi, yeah, my name's Ahmad. I run a project/archive called Palestine Online, which is a collection of websites created by Palestinians or about Palestine, mainly from the early or the late 90s to the early 2000s. And it's kind of a look back into the history and importance of the internet and the web for Palestinians to advocate for themselves and to preserve their culture under ongoing occupation and now genocide and just like erasure by adversarial forces. And I actually presented on Palestine Online at WordHack about 2.5 years ago. So I want to kind of look back to the history of this project And Todd has been very, very essential in providing me opportunities, and it feels really great to come back full circle to WordHack. So the first time I kind of delved into this project was kind of accidentally. It was shortly after October 7th, 2023, and I got kind of in this wave of just like observing and finding out information about Palestine from Palestinians through the internet, especially because Western news sources are often so biased. And I really thought about just like growing up in a very, very Palestinian neighborhood and town, participating in Palestinian activism in college, and thinking about how when something is happening in Palestine and Israel, how often the internet is an important source to understand what's happening directly from Palestinians. So the first time what I did was actually I went on this website. Anyone use this website? Gift Cities? Yeah, great project. It was kind of created for fun, but it actually ended up being a very important tool for me to use to search the early web, especially since the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine can be pretty daunting to actually browse if you don't know what you're looking for. And all I did was search Palestine on this, and you start getting these flags, and they all kind of link to different websites that, GeoCities websites that the images come from. So I started kind of collecting websites through that. And then 2023 November, Software for Artists Day by School for Poetic Computation at PioneerWorks. I proposed to Todd, I brought a CRT and I brought a laptop with a couple websites I downloaded and just showed it at a table. So I'm gonna show that real quick. Realize I don't have to hold this. So I set up this CRT on this table, comically low. I had a lot of people just like crouching and viewing these websites. And just full screen on the browser. I didn't even imagine making this into an actual website that people would visit, but people were like, where can we view these websites? So instead of just sending them the link of the Wayback Machine, I decided to compile them into an interface. So this is the This was the first version of Palestine Online. It's very simple. We have like a home page with this like Windows 98 motifed windows, just like a description that I wrote. So we have like GeoCities here. We have websites like pertaining to art and culture. You can click on them and you get kind of this like fake browser window. And you can like go forward, go back. You can go back home. And this is a website by artist Samia Halabi, which is one of the first websites I found, which is just like a rich tapestry of these like computer-drawn images and stories of various places in. You okay? Yeah, so this just like collection of websites, very simple frame, nothing much. And then Todd invited me to WordHack in January 2024, I think. So I went back into this project and started just like digging through the Internet Archive a lot more, and that ended up culminating into this second version. Where I kind of take the browser motif a little further and make this like kind of window. I like resize it to have like a 4:3 aspect ratio to like preserve like the original content of the websites. Following the first WordHack presentation, I kind of present a bunch of websites in this like narrative form with these arrows going to the left and to the right, which kind of guide the user through like cohesive history of like the early websites and like kind of like the web formed. So especially like kind of like the early web development happening in universities, especially Birzeit University. Kind of this this is like the first like indexing of like websites. Like you have different categories here, like arts and culture, business and economy. Trying to just like develop this like ecosystem online for Palestinian stacks as before Google and other search engines. And I decided I wanted to make it kind of fun. We have this this background here, which is these are like tile wallpapers found from various websites in the project. You can like switch them and kind of just like paying homage to like the image sharing and like image building culture of like early Palestinians on the web. You can reset the site. You can get kind of like an info panel, which I wrote. Yeah, so this is the second version of the website. And then about a year later, I started working on a third version, really imagining like how do we like create this like self-contained archive of websites while also like honoring them as documents, but also honoring them as connected documents instead of something that's like very linear like this. So this is the third version of the website, which currently exists on palestineonline.net. I like maintain this like browser motif, but instead of having this like narrative format, I decided to just like separate these pages down and organize them into categories. So we have websites that are relating to Gaza. This is the website of the Gaza International Airport, which was bulldozed by Israeli forces, I think in 2002, 2003, a couple of years after being built. And a lot of these documents kind of paint a very like distant and kind of strangely like normal image or like documentation of structures that don't exist anymore as a result of the ongoing occupation and violence. But also we collect a lot of personal websites. GeoCities are a big part of the project. So this is one of the first GeoCities websites I compiled, created by a then student in Jordan, which contains just like a lot of very cute documents, one of my favorite photos in the project. And we just added a little bit more like shareability, so like we can like share the link and like you can share it with someone and like copy into the URL bar and like go to an exact page. But a big issue with growing this archive actually has been getting these documents. It's very easy to find these documents. I have this like running list of websites that I have either downloaded successfully and have as part of the project, and a lot of websites that I haven't downloaded fully yet that I just like end up linking to the within the website. Just like directly within the iframe. So if you're not familiar with HTML, iframe is kind of like you embed a web page within another web page, and it's kind of like the foundational element that Palestine Online is built on. So you have some pages that are like that I have successfully downloaded using just like existing open source tools, which they do load pretty quickly. Everything is self-contained, and then I have other websites where I'm linking directly to the Wayback Machine, which might take a bit longer to load sometimes. They can be really inconsistent. The server load of the Wayback Machine is often inconsistent, and it's often faces outages. And the Wayback Machine has also been subject to hacks and cyber attacks. So even though it's kind of like this source where it's kind of guarantees that the internet is preserved, even it is not safe from just like the precariousness of the internet. In the past year or so, I've been just like thinking about like how do we actually collect these websites and pages properly? How do we update them for use for use like on modern browsers and in a way that honors these original web pages, but also kind of like updates them to get rid of stuff that was annoying about the web. So for example, some things that were annoying. Sometimes you go on a website, people would have like a MIDI file, like playing music, but now it's just like you open a website on the Wayback Machine, just like saves the website. It just saves this file, which is not good user experience, I would say. Also, another thing that I wanted to kind of fix is just like how web pages are linked, how they appear on your browser. So you can open a website and you might open a page on another tab, which I don't want, especially within this like iframe context. Like I want the experience of browsing the internet to be within the bounds of the browser window. And make it just very seamless and very smooth and kind of avoid that kind of friction to honor these original web pages. So I discovered Wayback Machine's open source code called Wayback CDX server, which is incredible. And basically what it does is it's an API where you can search like a URL string, and then you can put a lot of descriptors, and then it basically gives you a list in the Wayback Machine of pages that are saved that kind of match everything. So I've been using this to build a program that kind of scrapes through a specific date and time. So we have, for example, here I searched 1999 to 2001. Making sure we don't get a 404, and just like filtering out some kind of like, just like a bunch of like files that we really don't need anymore to get like the heart of the content. So we can kind of elegantly, efficiently, and then also just like save with like knowing that like we've saved as much of the content as possible. So I ran this program. It kind of gives you a list of everything that I found. It starts saving here. We only have 4 pages, and then it goes through every single page that we found and basically tries to find every image and download every image. And then we replace all the links. We get rid of all those pop-ups, all those downloads, everything, and kind of create a version of, save a version of the website and all its files that I can use within the context of Palestine Online. And avoid using the Wayback Machine. So this has been really amazing because once we have all the files, we can do a lot more, and we can just like make this a lot more of a robust interface, a lot more of a robust application, and just some more of a robust archive that is also not privy to being lost or deleted. So now I'm going to kind of show you the version of the website that I have been working on recently after we scraped all of this stuff. So this is the new version of the website. A big kind of topic for me also has been like truly honoring like the original time period and kind of providing as much immersion as we can in like the web window. So we kind of like were kind of had this like browser motif like from the beginning, but I decided that I wanted to really nerd out and have as exact of a replica of Windows Internet Explorer version 5 as we could. So we've been using like a CSS library to kind of mimic the design language of Windows 98. So this is called Windows. This is called 98.css, and doing some research, looking at the beautiful internet and all the free open source tooling and projects that other people have made, I found this amazing Windows 98 kind of like emulator, and shared, borrowed, grabbed the Internet Explorer window of this. So now we have this. We have all these buttons. The internet browser, the web browser works in a very cool way where you can use code to basically mimic the browser's functions. So you can, for example, here we have the back and forward buttons. So it's the same functionality. We can use these basically to toggle through the actual browser's history. But now we're doing it within the context of the window where the website is actually stored. And having all the files, I can basically generate a list and an index of all the websites that we have. So we've decided, instead of having a drop-down with kind of very like fixed windows and very like fixed categories, we can just make a full URL bar which can kind of basically pull in all the information stored on the website directly. And that kind of like, the aim of that is to kind of mimic actually going, using a web browser, especially in an era where things were meant to be very searchable, and you kind of had to dig to like find links and really explore them, rather than like kind of like having something delivered to you by an algorithm. So this aims to like kind of capture that spirit of actually going through these websites. This is current half-failed scraped experiment, but this is Palestine Wildlife Society's website on a page of some plants in the Gaza Valley. We have the Gaza Airport website. And then we have, again, all our GeoCities and just various images that people have shared on them. And then what else we can do. So where I found this from, we have this print button, and it's actually super easy to just trigger printing a document from your browser using JavaScript. So we can just print the document, and also kind of emphasizing that this internet is very like document heavy, and it's not, it's kind of different from like using our Instagram feed today, which is not very, it's not very permanent in the way these documents are. And actually, a big part of Palestine Online lately has been kind of translating the web documents to more physical formats, like publications. So here's a screenshot of Palestine Online zine that we released last year, which kind of basically takes these documents, formats them, makes the margins all nice, and kind of also looks at the code behind each website and what you can kind of extract from this code. And that, I think, goes back to a practice for me of literally archiving everything that is possible as Palestinians face destruction of their land and their culture. Even something like the content tag, the meta tag, is just like very important to preserve. And also the scraper just like embeds everything, so we can just go to the original source. We can pull up the original Wayback Machine page. And also going back to the power of the web browser, I also implemented a favorites menu, so you can like save a website, and it gets added to these favorites, and you can always go back to them, save them for later. Since this new structure kind of emulates like the early internet browsing practices, it's kind of easier to really get lost in these websites. I think just like a little intervention like this really helps just like encourage digging in, like saving stuff for later, sharing them. So yeah, this is currently in the works, hoping to put it live on PalestineOnline.net sometime in the next week, sometime later this month. But yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thanks so much, Ahmad. And yeah, no, it's definitely, I really appreciate the work that Ahmad is doing and many other web archivists are doing. I've definitely had the experience of seeing some of my favorite website artworks or past work my students have made go offline, and like there are tools out there that you can use to create offline versions or to download offline versions of websites. So like that's a thing you can do. You don't need to do a lot of coding even to use them. And I encourage all of you, if you have like a certain little website that you like, I mean, you can't like back up Google with all its functionality and that kind of stuff. But if it's just like a weird little website that you like, you can just download that and save that on your computer and save it for when it might not be up anymore. And I've done that for a couple of websites and really enjoyed it. Encourage you to all to do that as well. But really appreciate the work Ahmad is doing here to preserve those early websites. Let's give it up for all our featured presenters this evening. And our all-star open projector. This has been a really great show. Really exciting to see all of these presentations and to see all of you in the audience, and even more exciting to potentially have a drink in the backyard and be outside here at Wonderville, one of the greatest treats. We are here the third Thursday of every month, so our next show is going to be May number, it's going to be at least 15. May 21st is our next show, and we're going to be hearing from Maury Coleman and Melanie Hoff, as well as one more TBD. It's going to be a really fun time. If you're thinking maybe I could get something done for the open projector by then, you could and you should. I'll see you on the open projector. That time sign up goes up at 6:45. That's all I have for the show this evening. It's been really fun to hang out with you. Goodbye.
Bye.